Think you couldn't be any more freaked out by Bryan Kohberger than you already are? Think again. Check out these new selfies that Kohberger reportedly took of himself after he unalived the 4 University of Idaho students. And in one of these selfies, it shows a cut on his knuckle. It's not clear if he sustained that injury during the crime, but you gotta think it probably is likely. You can see in these images how pale and gaunt he is. And the injury that we see on the knuckle is on the same finger that he had bandaged in a selfie that he took a few hours after the crime. The injury is on the knuckle of Kohberger's ring finger. According to the Celebrite experts who found these selfies, it doesn't appear that Kohberger sent them to anybody. And if you've ever seen the movie American Psycho, you can see how similar these images look to the character in that movie. And Kohberger allegedly told an inmate who he spent time with in jail that that was his favorite movie. Now, a number of his classmates who are in the criminology program with him at Washington State University told the Idaho State Police that they noticed injuries in class after the crime took place in Moscow, Idaho. One student who told police she sat just 3 feet away from Kohberger described his injuries after the crime to police as, quote, bruised knuckles, redness halfway up the back of the left hand from his knuckles, and a cut on his right finger. But apparently some other classmates told the police that some of these injuries may not have been new. So they may have predated the crime in Moscow, Idaho, which happened on November 13th of 2022. One of Kohberger's classmates called the Moscow homicide tip line to report that she had observed him with bloody knuckles, quote, just prior to the homicides. That student added that, quote, the hands looked really beat up, like he was hitting something, end quote. We know that Kohberger in jail apparently has been seen washing his hands repeatedly to the point where they turned red. A WSU professor who had Kohberger in her class police that she noticed bandages on Kohberger's middle and ring fingers on his right hand after the crime. And when she asked him how that happened, Kohberger said, quote, it was from a silly accident that happened indoors, end quote. However, the professor did not believe that the injury could have happened indoors because it looked like it had been scraped on asphalt. But the same professor said that she believed that Kohberger had sustained that injury prior to the crime in Moscow, Idaho. Several other of Kohberger's classmates told the police that Kohberger had said he got the injuries while boxing or in a car accident. The selfie that freaks me out the most is the one that is a close-up of his face where we can see his teeth bared and his upper lip tucked. To me, all these different stories point to Kohberger lying about how he got the injuries. Investigators have said that they found a number of half-naked selfies of Kohberger on his cell phone. Digital forensics expert Heather Barnhart of Celebrite said, quote, lots of him posing half-naked in the mirror while flexing. Very vain like American Psycho, end quote. To me, the one where he's sort of saluting and where you can see the cut on the knuckle reminds me of the image that was on the Papa Rogers account on Reddit. I know that the police say they have no connection from Kohberger to that Papa Rogers account, but I personally believe that that was Kohberger. I really believe that Papa Rogers was Kohberger. Nobody can tell me that that wasn't Kohberger. Note that these images were first published by News Nation, and the images were recovered from Kohberger's cell phone after his arrest on December 30th of 2022 at his parents' house in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania. Remember, he lost more than 100 pounds when he was in high school. So it kind of looks like Kohberger digs his own image, that he loves his gaunt body. I suspect he was bullied for that. And we all know that bullying definitely leaves scars on people, emotional scars that run deep. It's not an excuse for him turning into a perpetrator of unalivings, but it may explain some of the things that led him off the train tracks. We've heard that he has some fans, some female fans, who seem to think he's attractive. You know they're going to be sending him letters in prison, and these images may attract even more weirdos like that. Yeah, I do think it's weird to write to a guy who just said he is guilty of unaliving 4 innocent human beings. Personally, I'd want to stay as far the F away from somebody like that as possible. Stay away from trouble. This dude is major trouble. And I do believe there is mental illness in this guy. But we know he is very vain about his body. He lost all that weight. He did do some boxing. His father took him to a gym where a guy helped train him, helped him lose the weight. He took up a vegan diet, which he's been complaining about in prison because he's not happy with the food that they're serving him. Prisons are notorious for providing a lot of carbs, but very little protein. Donna Adelson, the matriarch of the Adelson family, who was just convicted for her role in Dan Markel's murder, said that she gained a lot of weight because of all the carbs in prison. I think Kohberger believes that his body really is a temple, and he really enjoys seeing these gaunt looks. He's not going to be somebody who wants to bulk up in prison, I don't think, even though he should probably do that for his own safety. A lot of people, when they go to prison, do try to bulk up to make themselves look more menacing so they won't get attacked. Kohberger, of course, is being isolated and protected because a lot of people would like to punish him in there for the prestige. Yeah, I think he likes this look. You know, he's got the kind of face where you can tell what he's going to look like in like 30 years. Those yellow teeth are going to get even more yellow and gnarly. Maybe that skin will get a little more loose because he's afraid to go into the prison gym. Maybe he'll pack on the pounds at some point. All in all, he's where he deserves to be, in my opinion. I believe him when he says, "Hey, I did it." All I can say to you is I hope these images do not give you any nightmares tonight. Try to block them out of your mind. And personally, I do believe that that cut on the knuckle is from attacking Xana Kernodle in particular. We know that she put up a vicious fight against him. Of course, it wasn't a fair fight. She did not have a weapon in her hand. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I will see you next time on Bed Crime Stories. Hey, smash that like button. Also, please consider a Patreon membership. I am not monetized. See you next time. Love you guys. Hope you're having a great day.